Chapter 5496. If I had found out earlier, I wouldn't have let her leave me, and I wouldn't have planned to hurt her. Cheng Zixiao sobbed and covered his face with his hands. Xiao Xueshi is right. She was so smart. Even if she fell into the hands of bandits, as long as there was still hope in her heart, she would never give up the chance to live and jump into the sea. She was disappointed in me, so she didn't want to stay in this world anymore. I was the one who pushed away the person who treated me the best in this world. Now, I've lost the right to have her forever. Xiao Xueshi, who was squatting outside the window, didn't expect to hear such a big secret on a whim. She wasn't a fool. From the words just now, she could tell that Cheng Zixiao had something to do with Tangua's death. What she couldn't accept was that Cheng Zixiao had framed Tangua for her, because Cheng Zixiao used to like her. She couldn't accept that she had a part to play in Tangua's death. She couldn't accept it. What she couldn't accept was that Tangua knew that Cheng Zixiao was behind the plan. Last time she asked, he said he didn't know. Xiao Xueshi's tears kept falling. Tangua didn't say anything because she was afraid that the truth would hurt her. She was the one who hurt her. Why didn't she want to tell the truth? She wasn't afraid of being hurt at all. Cheng Zifeng's hurt had made her very strong. If she could go back in time, she would definitely stay by Tangua's side, so that Tangua wouldn't have a chance to be sent away by Cheng Zixiao's men. Even though Cheng Zixiao was sobbing in the room, she could feel his feelings for Tangua. That kind of regret, reluctance, and heart-wrenching pain, she still couldn't vent her anger. She didn't think that Cheng Zixiao was an infatuated person. He was an ingrate. He was indeed Cheng Zifeng's brother. They did things in the same way. None of them had a conscience. Xiao Xueshi had heard most of the truth. She suppressed her sadness and slowly went out. Second young master, eat something. No matter what, you have to live. Tao He persuaded him. We haven't found Miss Tang's body yet. Maybe there are miracles in this world. What if she appears again one day? As long as there was no corpse, it meant that there was still hope for her to come back. Second young master can only make up for it in the future if he has a healthy body. Cheng Zixiao's eyes lit up as he said slowly, "Really? Of course. Second young master can earn more money and hire more people. Let them go to the seaside every day and look around. Maybe they can find it. No matter what, if he's alive, I want to see him, and if he's dead, I want to see his corpse, right?" "You're right." Cheng Zixiao seemed to have found a reason to live. "Go get some food." Tao Hatsai heaved a sigh of relief and hurriedly called for someone to bring food over. Cheng Zixiao had been starving for a few days and hadn't eaten properly, so he could only eat some porridge. He looked at the porridge in the bowl and fell into deep thought again. Seeing his red eyes, Tao Hatsai urged him, Xiao, eat it. The temperature is just right, not hot, not cold." "You ordered it?" "No, the chef prepared it a long time ago." Cheng Zixiao took a bite. It was a familiar taste. That chef should be the one who tried making the porridge before. Before him, he wouldn't have thought of these things. He made the porridge, then cooled it down and warmed it. When it's time to eat, it's just right. This is what he ordered. Chapter 5497. She often asked the chef to make these dishes. "There was a time when I ate these for breakfast every day. Ever since I ate these, my stomach doesn't hurt anymore." Tao was speechless. The Chung family really had too many memories of Miss Tang. These memories were sweet and deadly to the second young master. At the same time, Tangua had already settled down at the top of Oxhead Mountain. Just as Yin Qing said, there was a beautiful house with everything inside. There was a pond, fish, and flowers in the house. It was a good place to live. Every day, Yin Qing's underlings would go up and down to buy many things from the city. They were afraid that she would be bored, so they bought books and musical instruments. Anyway, Yin Qing asked his men to carry all the things that the rich young ladies played with. At this time, Tangua was leaning against the pavilion, reading and playing with the fish. Yin Qing sat beside her and stared at her. From time to time, he would throw some fish feed into the pond. "Don't throw the feed. Don't you see that the fish in the pond are bloated? If you continue, they will die." Tangua saw that Yin Qing was about to throw the feed into the pond again, so she quickly stopped him. Yin Qing stopped and smiled at her. "Are you used to living here? Is there anything you lack?" "I'm used to it." It's like living at home. Yinxing was even happier when he heard this. What about the book? Do you like reading it? It's so crooked. I can't understand it. Yinxing didn't know that the original owner had never learned a foreign language. Of course, Tanghua could understand the book. In the future, when some special period came, these books might not be able to be preserved. Almost every similar small world would have such a special period of time, but there were many differences in the progress. For example, when she first came to this small world, she found that the film industry developed very early and was very developed. In terms of technology, it was much more advanced than the small world at the same time. Do you want to learn? Tanghua shook the book in her hand. If you want to learn, I can teach you. Many of your men can't recognize many words. You can ask them if they want to learn. Yinxing was surprised. You're willing to teach us? Of course. Of course he's willing. Because of various things, we've cut off our chance to go to school. Yinxing said that he was actually a little better. His parents were literate, and he had gone to school before, so it was not a problem for him to recognize words. However, many of his underlings were not as well. Some of them could not even write their own names. In the past, none of them had realized this problem. I'll call them over. Not long after, the lackeys were sitting in rows in the courtyard. Yinxing was seated in the first row. This is a rare opportunity. All of you must study hard and not fall behind. Tomorrow, I'll go down the mountain to buy a blackboard and chalk, as well as paper and pen. In this way, Tanghua began to teach on the mountain. One day after class, she said to Yinxing, "There's a group of bandits on the mountain next door. Let's recruit them to strengthen our team. Also, I don't think you can always be bandits. You have to find something serious to do. We have property at the foot of the mountain." Yinxing said, "I'll get someone to show you the account book." How do you know about the bandits on the mountain next door? Yinxing and the bandits on the mountain next door did not interfere in each other's business. Tang was already flipping through the account book. Yinxing's property was scattered and not concentrated enough. It was not a problem for him to make money, but it was impossible for him to continue expanding. He had to carry out a unified management and planning. There's no rush to recruit them. Get someone to watch over them. When they're in danger, just go and pick them up. According to the history of this world, even if the bandits on the mountain next door did not die because of the original owner, they would be killed by the people who later occupied Fish City. We'll listen to you. From today onwards, I'll teach you Chinese and mathematics. When you've learned enough, I'll teach you foreign languages. Recently, I'll organize all your properties. When there's a chance, you can replace the family Tang and the Chung family. Yinxing said excitedly, "That's not a problem." He knew that she was someone who would do great things. Following her was definitely the right thing to do. Lackeys, boss, why do you sound so awkward? Anyway, at this point, it would not be good if she did not do anything. After all, she still had to live in this world for decades. She also wanted to usher in an era of peace as soon as possible. Yinxing was very cooperative. Tanghua's life was better than Cheng Zixiao's. Do you want to know what happened at the foot of the mountain? One day, Yinxing asked tentatively, "Recently, my people found that Xiao Xueshi went to the Cheng family very often to look for Cheng Zixiao. Guess what she did?" Tanghua was also a little curious. What did she do? Chapter 5498. I didn't want to tell you this at first. I thought you weren't worth it. You can't not trust her. I didn't expect so many things to happen after that. I thought about it and decided to tell you. Cheng Zixiao looked at the order in his hand. His rosy face turned pale again. When did this happen? A few days before the accident, Xiao Xueshi probed. Xiao Xueshi said tentatively, "I remember that you guys went to Yun's tailor shop to order clothes and made a lot of them. I don't know why she secretly ordered so many after that. Could it be that she sensed something and knew that she couldn't stay by your side?" Cheng Zixiao was still in a daze. He didn't know what to do when he saw the order. After being reminded by Xiao Xueshi, it was as if something had been opened in her mind. She immediately understood why Tanghua ordered so many clothes for the 4 seasons. She knew his plan. She had time to order clothes, but she didn't have time to escape. Was she sad when she found out the truth? He also didn't notice anything strange about her when he accompanied her to shop. Now that he thought about it, he felt that she was too quiet. He thought that his plan was perfect, but he didn't know that she was the one who pretended not to know, even though his plan was targeted at her. Xiao Xueshi looked at Cheng Zixiao's pale face and the way he gripped the order tightly. She felt a little happy. This order was completely non-existent. She thought that even if Tanghua was alive now, she wouldn't like Cheng Zixiao anymore, right? She jumped into the sea so decisively. Maybe she wanted to say goodbye to these things. She was so smart. How could she be immersed in her feelings for Cheng Zixiao? She guessed that Tanghua didn't just jump into the sea because she was disappointed in Cheng Zixiao. It should be because many things happen one after another. She felt a little tired, and this world wasn't beautiful, so it wasn't worth her nostalgia. But she had to create the illusion that Tanghua jumped into the sea because of Cheng Zixiao's betrayal. She could tell that Cheng Zixiao was attracted to Tanghua. Through her recent observation, she realized that Cheng Zixiao was a despicable person. She didn't cherish it when she was alive, and only felt sad when she was dead. She really deserved it. Tang's life and death were unknown, and Cheng Zixiao would not be able to live through the following days easily. I want to take a look at Yun's tailor shop. Cheng Zixiao took a deep breath and tried to control the pain in his heart. He stood up from the chair and ran outside. Xiao Xueshi hurriedly followed behind. Tao He, who had been waiting outside, quickly walked to her side and said in a low voice, "Miss Xiao, I'll have to trouble you to take care of second young master these days. Second young master's condition isn't very good. I hope you can encourage him and not let him be immersed in the sadness of the past. Some of them never came back, but some of them are still alive. Okay, I'll keep an eye on him. Don't worry. Don't worry. She won't let Cheng Zixiao live well. She will always remind Cheng Zixiao how good the other person is to him." Xiao Xueshi lowered her eyes. She already had a plan in mind. She had already planned to do something, and Tang's sudden accident gave her an idea. "I'm sorry. The things on this order can't be collected in one go. Miss Tang and we agreed that we would deliver to the Cheng family every quarter." Yun Xiaoyan replied coldly, completely ignoring Cheng Zixiao's identity. Chapter 5499. Cheng Zixiao didn't get angry. He didn't expect there to be such an agreement. He even wondered why Tang didn't tell him this. After thinking about it, why would she tell him? Then can I take this quarters? Yun Xiaoyan sneered in her heart. This Cheng family really didn't have any good people. It was a little strange. Why did she think that Cheng Zixiao was different from Cheng Zifeng and was a good person? She really wanted to tear her mouth apart. She actually persuaded Miss Tang that the second young master of the Cheng family was a good person. Why didn't such a rotten person just die? Miss Tang was such a good person, but she was gone just like that. But what surprised her was that Xiao Xueshi actually did this. She liked her more and more. Since that was the case, she was naturally happy to cooperate. "You can take this quarters." Yun Xiaoyan still didn't look happy. Cheng Zixiao didn't seem to care and only looked at her expectantly. Yun Xiaoyan turned around and took out a few sets of clothes and handed them to Cheng Zixiao. Cheng Zixiao held them like treasures and didn't let Tao Hutsai touch them. Just as he was about to turn around and leave, Yun Xiaoyan's voice sounded. "Wait a minute, you haven't paid yet." Cheng Zixiao was stunned and looked back at Yun Xiaoyan. He was very confused. Didn't these clothes have a full payment? "Miss Tang and I originally agreed to take the first quarter's worth of clothes and pay for the rest. I didn't expect something to happen to her." Cheng Zixiao's arm trembled and his lips moved. "Hutsai pay the rest of the money," Cheng Zixiao added. Tao Hutsai was silent for a moment and asked Yun Xiaoyan, "Miss Yun, how much is the balance?" "Wait a minute, let me calculate." Yun Xiaoyan took out an abacus and counted. "Miss Tang ordered clothes for you from Yun's tailor shop for 10 years. There are 4 quarters a year, 3 sets each quarter. 3, 4, 12, a total of 120 sets of clothes. 1 set of winter clothes costs 300 yuan. 30 sets of winter clothes costs 9,000 yuan. Spring and autumn clothes cost 200 yuan. 60 sets of spring and autumn clothes cost 12,000 yuan. Summer clothes cost 150 yuan. 30 sets of summer clothes cost 4,500 yuan. The total is 25,500 yuan. Because of Miss Tang's generosity, I erased 500 yuan for her, so it's 25,000 yuan. Miss Tang has already paid 2,500 yuan as a deposit, so second young master Chung can just pay the rest. He kai pay up. Even though this was a huge expenditure, Chung Zixiao didn't have much of a reaction. Tao Hatsai hesitated for a moment. After all, he had let Tang Gua take away a small part of the family property, so there was not much liquid capital left in the residence. After paying more than 20,000, the residents would have to live in poverty for a while. After all, he didn't dare to casually take out the money in the shop for fear that he wouldn't have enough liquid funds. But looking at Chung Zixiao's appearance, he could only inform Yin Xiaolian first and then go get the money. Chung Zixiao sat in the rickshaw with the clothes in his hands in a daze. He did not even notice that Xiao Xueshi had bid him farewell. Are you feeling better now? Yun Xiaolian looked at Xiao Xueshi's silent face. Why aren't you happy? At the very least, we could scam him. Tanghua is not coming back. It's useless to vent our anger. Yin Xiaolian sighed. Then why did you do all this? Consider it my repayment to her. I have an idea now. I want Chung Zixiao to never be able to walk out of this. Chapter 5500. Yun Xiaolian didn't know that Xiao Xueshi had so many tricks up her sleeves. Thinking about that scene, Chung Zixiao really made an honest person anxious. Tanghua heard about Xiao Xueshi from Yin Qing and was a little surprised. She didn't expect her to work with Yin Xiaolian to trick Chung Zixiao and succeed. Not only that, she even had a way to trick him. The brothers have already integrated the businesses at the foot of the mountain, according to what you said. In a few months, we can slowly come into contact with some of the Chung family's businesses. Yin Qing reported on the recent homework. Xiao Xueshi is currently looking for candidates. It seems that she has to trick Chung Zixiao. Don't worry about that. Do you feel bored on mountain? Do you want to go out and have a look? If we don't go to Fish City, we can go to other places to play. Tanghua didn't plan to go down the mountain recently, so she refused. Seeing Yin Qing's disappointed expression, she changed her words. I want to go around the mountain. Then I'll take you. Yin Qing became energetic again. Really, I haven't taken you around since you came up the mountain. Time passed unknowingly. It had been 2 months since Tanghua jumped into the sea. Chung Zixiao looked fine on the surface, which made old Master Chung feel more at ease. However, Tao Hatsai was very worried. The clothes Chung Zixiao was wearing now were the clothes he had picked up from the Yun family's tailor shop. Other than these clothes, he didn't wear anything else. He had gone to look for Xiao Xueshi a few times, and Xiao Xueshi had come to give him face. He didn't listen to their conversation, but Xiao Xueshi's appearance didn't seem to improve the second young master situation much. This made Tao Hatsai feel very helpless. Every time Xiao Xueshi came, of course, it was to talk to Chung Zixiao about Tanghua. She couldn't trick Tanghua about clothes, but she could trick her in other areas. For example, she told Chung Zixiao about Tanghua's hobbies. These hobbies were true. She understood Chung Zixiao a little. As long as she said that Tanghua liked something, he would definitely buy it back and keep it in his house. She saw with her own eyes that there were more and more things in the house. According to Chung Zixiao, these were all gifts for Tanghua when she came back. To this, she merely smiled. Why did the late affection make her feel so cheap? It wasn't touching at all. She just thought he was. Recently, Tao Hexai had come to look for her again. It just so happened that she wanted to test the waters. If you're not happy, you can go watch a movie. If you're unhappy, you can go watch a movie. As expected, Chung Zixiao listened. That afternoon, he went to the cinema to buy tickets to watch a movie. Tao Hatsai sat in the back, while Chung Zixiao sat in the seat that he and Tanghua had shared before. He still remembered the conversation between the two. The more he thought, the more he's azes, sitting as his azes. S. When Chung Zixiao saw her, he was stunned. He rushed over, grabbed her, and called out Tanghua's name. In the end, the woman was so scared that she screamed and called him a pervert. When the theater staff heard the noise, they quickly came in and pulled Chung Zixiao away. At this moment, Chung Zixiao finally saw clearly that this woman wasn't Tanghua. She didn't look like her at all. But just now, he clearly felt that this woman was Tangua. No, it should be said that she looked very much like Tangua when she Saturday. Chapter 5501. Why are you dressed like this? Cheng Zixiao stared at the panicked woman in front of him with a gloomy expression. Do you deserve to dress like this? Other than Tangua, no one would look good in this dress. The woman, who was wearing the same Chong Sam as Tangua, was furious when she heard Cheng Zixiao's words. Why do you care what I look like? Who are you? Do you live by the sea? Come take a look. There's a homeless man here who wants to take advantage of me. He's blaming me for wearing the wrong dress. Everyone, help me take this hooligan to the police station. This woman's voice was so loud that it hurt the ears of the people around her. Cheng Zixiao's words were so outrageous that the lights in the cinema had to be turned on. The staff held Cheng Zifeng down. No matter how Tao Hatsai shouted, it was useless. It's a misunderstanding. This is the second young master of the Cheng family, not a hooligan. In the end, Tao Hatsai could only announce his identity. Ever since Miss Tang went missing, the second young master has been acting strangely. Please forgive him. When everyone heard this, they stopped making a ruckus and carefully sized up Cheng Zixiao. Tao Hatsai apologized to everyone and quickly pulled Cheng Zixiao away. Cheng Zixiao's eyes were still on the woman, but she glared at him. He finally retracted his gaze. Just now, his eyes were playing tricks on him. He had mistaken her for someone else. The same clothes on different people really made a world of difference. Tao Hatsai looked at the silent Cheng Zixiao and didn't know what to say. He felt that it was better not to come to the cinema in the future. There were too many people here, and the lights were dim. It was easy to mistake people. However, he didn't know that in the following days, Cheng Zixiao would mistake someone else for someone else almost every day. Every time, he would rush over and grab an unfamiliar woman, shouting Tang's name loudly. In the end, he would either be pushed away, slapped, or beaten up by the woman's partner. After that, he would know that this was the second young master of the Cheng family. In just a month, the news that the second young master of the Cheng family might have lost his mind spread. Xiao Xueshi was satisfied with Cheng Zixiao's condition. She had hired those women. She might not be able to do other things at the moment, but she should be able to make Cheng Zixiao live in the shadows forever if she worked hard. Right now, everyone in Fish City is saying that Cheng Zixiao is about to go crazy. Yin Xiaoyan said in a low voice. But there's another rumor that I'm afraid you won't like to hear. It's about the people in Fish City talking about Xiaogua, right? She said that a woman like her, who didn't abide by the virtues of a wife, didn't deserve Cheng Zixiao's attention, right? He even said that it was a pity for Cheng Zixiao. Yin Xiaoyan nodded lightly. Just hearing it makes me angry. How could Miss Tang be that kind of person? Speaking of which, when are you going to announce the truth? They're all prejudiced by their first impressions. Unless Cheng Zixiao takes the initiative to admit to it, there's no evidence to back up the news. Besides, I'm afraid that if this attack fails, Cheng Zixiao will suddenly wake up, and that will be troublesome. Yun Xiaoyan knocked on her head. I thought you were an idiot. I didn't expect you to be so smart. I'm an idiot. It's all because I suffered at your hands. You really screwed me over that time. Yun Xiaoyan hurriedly stopped and admitted her mistake. It's all because I was young and insensible. I was jealous and thought that you got a good deal. I didn't expect this to be Cheng Zixiao's scheme. I was also an idiot. If I wanted to find trouble, I shouldn't have found trouble with those two brothers. Why would I find trouble with you? Chapter 5502. Because you think I'm taking advantage of you. Yun Xiaoyan, let's get down to business. What do you plan to do next? Xiao Xueshi was silent for about half a minute before saying, since everyone in Yu City is saying that Xiaogua is unfaithful and not worthy of Cheng Zixiao doing this, I want to make this rumor even more intense. No matter where Cheng Zixiao went, he could hear people talking about Xiaogua and saying bad things about her. Right now, in his heart, he already sees Xiaogua as his life. If everyone is slandering her, what do you think he will do? He'll stop these people and won't allow them to say that. But can he stop them? At least if he praises her, the Cheng family won't be able to develop. Everyone knows that the second young master of the Chung family has lost his mind and did crazy things for Xiaogua. Do you think others won't take this opportunity to suppress the Chung family? If he doesn't take the initiative to admit his mistake, I'll announce the truth when the Chung family is no longer in power. At that time, it'll be time for everyone to beat the dog in the water. Many people will suddenly realize that Chung Zixiao is blaming himself because he did something wrong. They won't subconsciously excuse him just because he's the second young master of the Chung family. Yin Xiaoyan patted her chest and couldn't help but take 2 steps back. Where did you learn this? Xiaogua taught me, and the rich ladies in your city gave me pointers. Ever since the incident with Xieyuan, I've made many friends at every gathering. Only then did I know that the rich ladies in the circle aren't so unapproachable. They're actually very easy to get along with. TSK, no wonder. You've grown up. Tanghua, who was far away on Oxhead Mountain, was still a little surprised when she heard Xiao Shueshi's actions. Yin Qing, when Xiao Shueshi spreads rumors, help light the fire. Keep an eye on the Chung family. Don't let other families divide us up when we work so hard. Yin Qing patted his chest and promised, "Don't worry, I'm watching." Actually, he had the ability to take over Yu City, just like some other powers. For some reason, Tang was stopped this from happening. She even said that the light of the world would soon arrive. When the time came, he just needed to join, and there was no need for him to do anything else. In any case, he would listen to her. Now that his brothers were very happy, he was also very happy. Within a few days, there were more and more discussions about Tanghua in Yu City. Anyway, they were talking about her and Chung Zifeng over and over again. Even the servants of the Chung family couldn't help but secretly talk about how Tanghua had caused their second young master to suffer so much. If she hadn't done such a disgraceful thing, their second young master wouldn't have lost his mind. When Chung Zixiao heard this, he roared at these people. She's not that kind of person. Tao Hatsai, chase these people out. Whoever says anything bad about her, chase them out. In just 3 days, Chung Zixiao had chased away more than half of the Chung family servants. Old Master Chung couldn't sit still anymore. He came to him and persuaded, "Zixiao, why do you have to give up on yourself for such a woman? You're a descendant of the Chung family. Isn't it easy for you to have a woman? They're right. If she's a good second young mistress and knows her place. Get out." Before Old Master Chung could finish, Chung Zixiao got angry and stared at him with red eyes. "What do you know? What right do you have to talk about her? Get out." Old Master Chung pointed at Chung Zixiao and gasped. You're crazy. I'll say it again. Whoever says anything bad about her in the Chung family, get out." He looked up and looked at Old Master Chung coldly. "Including you, old man." Old Master Cheng's blood rushed to his heart, and he fainted. Master fainted. Chung Zifeng crossed his legs lazily and asked calmly, "Is he still breathing?" Yes. "Then get out." "Wait, how'd he faint?" "It's like this." After hearing what the servant said, Chung Zifeng couldn't help laughing. "Zixiao is really much more promising than me. Not to mention other things, Zixiao's courage and ability are indeed impressive. By the way, if I had been more forceful before, Yuan might have married into the family. It turns out that my father is so cowardly." Chapter 55:03. Have you heard? Because the Chung family servants said a few bad things about Miss Tang, they were chased out by the Chung family's second young master. That's not all. I also heard that even Old Master Chung couldn't say anything bad about Miss Tang. That day, he said a few words and fainted because of the Chung family's second young master. This generation of the Chung family is ruined here. Speaking of which, Miss Tang is really a troublemaker. If it weren't for her, the Chung family would definitely be fine. Everyone was discussing animatedly. Chung Zixiao happened to pass by in a rickshaw. When he heard these words, he couldn't take it anymore. He stopped the rickshaw driver and rushed down to grab the person who spoke. He said fiercely, "What right do you have to say something bad about her? Look, it's the Chung family's second young master. It's fine if he cares about his own family, but he also cares about outsiders." When the surrounding people saw that it was Chung Zixiao, they hurriedly went forward to pull him back. Today, Cheng Zifeng was alone. Two random people could easily pull him apart. The person who was grabbed by the collar just now pushed Cheng Zixiao hard and mocked. Isn't what I said the truth? Isn't it because she doesn't like you and isn't willing to marry you that she's with your brother? Everyone in your city knows that you personally wrote the letter of divorce and arranged for someone to send her back. Isn't that the reason? If it weren't for her, shouldn't your Cheng family be very peaceful? What's wrong with that? Speaking of which, second young master Cheng, no matter how much you like a woman, you have to wipe your face and wipe your eyes. For such a woman, is it worth it to torment the Cheng family like this? Moreover, this woman didn't like you. She betrayed you, humiliated you, and made you a cuckold. Now that she's dead, she deserves it. You should be happy. Why can't you forget it? Yeah, the people around him echoed. Even if Tanghua was a fairy who had descended to the mortal world, the best choice for any man in the face of such a woman was to give up. They didn't understand why Cheng Zixiao couldn't forget such a woman and even caused the Cheng family to be in such a mess. If the truth was as they said, Cheng Zixiao naturally wouldn't be so angry. It should be said that if he had not discovered his own feelings and understood that Tanghua was the one who treated him the best in the world, he would not be in such pain right now. Listening to the harsh words of the people around him, the underlying meaning was that he was muddle-headed at the moment and all kinds of bad things about Tanghua. He was on the verge of breaking down. He took 2 steps back and couldn't help shouting, "She is innocent. She has nothing to do with Cheng Zifeng." Second young master Cheng, no matter how much you like this woman, you don't have to lie through your teeth, do you? Back then, when she had an affair with your eldest brother, it was the Cheng family's servants who personally brought you to catch her in the act. It was impossible to hide such a huge matter. You're protecting her too much. Why? She's really innocent. She didn't do anything, really. Cheng Zixiao repeated. He scratched his head hard, his eyes red with tears. She's innocent. She doesn't dislike me. She likes me. She doesn't like Cheng Zifeng. How could she like Cheng Zifeng? She likes me. You don't know anything at all. Cheng Zixiao roared loudly, but it didn't cause any impact on the passers-by. They all shook their heads with regret on their faces. The voices of discussion rang in Cheng Zixiao's ears again. It seems that the rumor is true. Second young master Cheng has really lost his mind. No, I haven't lost my mind. I'm very clear-headed. Cheng Zixiao looked at the passers-by, shaking their heads, and raised his voice. I'll say it again. She has never done anything wrong, but second young master, how are you? Tao Hatsai quickly rushed over and grabbed Cheng Zixiao. He pulled him away and pushed him into the rickshaw. Second young master, the doctor said that you need to rest for a while. Tao Hatsai's back was soaked with sweat. If he had come a little later and the second young master had revealed the entire plan, it would have been over. What a pity. Xiao Xueshi, who was hiding in a corner, couldn't help but stomp her feet. This Tao Hatsai, he came just in time. If I had known earlier, I would have delayed him. Chapter 5504. Second young master, how are you? Cheng Zixiao had already returned to the Cheng family. Tao Hatsai looked at the silent Cheng Zixiao and was very worried. Second young master, let's keep what happened a secret. It's not good for you to talk about it. The Cheng family is already in a mess. I hope you can pull yourself together soon. Don't you still need to earn money and hire people to find Miss Tang? Seeing that Cheng Zixiao still didn't speak, Tao Hatsai said, Second young master, you can't collapse at this time. If you collapse, there will be no more hope. Before you find Miss Tang, you must take care of yourself and wait for her to come back. I know that second young master is very remorseful about that matter and wants to prove her innocence, but she hasn't come back yet. So what if you prove her innocence? Not only will she not know, but it will also put you in a lot of trouble. Why don't you wait for Miss Tang to come back and apologize to her personally and prove her innocence? Tao Hatsai knew that the chances of Tang was surviving were almost zero. He just wanted to calm Cheng Zixiao down. In his opinion, no matter how painful the injury was, it would slowly recover with time. Even if the injury couldn't be completely healed, it would at least be better than now. Saying that Tang Guo was coming back was nothing more than reassuring Cheng Zixiao and giving him hope to pull himself together. This time, Cheng Zixiao did listen. He looked up. If she comes back, will she forgive me? As long as you are alive and sincerely repent to her, you will be forgiven one day. As long as Miss Tang comes back, you will have a lifetime to work hard. So at this time, you must take care of yourself and protect the Cheng family. This will give her a stable environment. If you give up, you won't be able to wait for her to come back. Cheng Zixiao listened. Yes, I will wait for her to come back. I will make the Cheng family stronger. I will make a lot of money. Hire a lot of people to find her. When she comes back, I will give everything to her and let her do whatever she wants. As long as she is willing to come back to me, I am willing to use my life to atone for my sins. Tao Hutsai's heart softened, but he still nodded. The next day, Cheng Zixiao began to pull himself together and deal with the problems left behind by the Cheng family. The surrounding families who were eyeing Cheng Zixiao covetously hesitated when they saw that he had suddenly recovered. Even old Master Cheng, who was lying on the hospital bed, heaved a sigh of relief when he heard this. Although he was angry, as long as Cheng Zixiao could support the Cheng family, he would swallow his anger. There was nothing he could do about it. Everyone had been replaced by Cheng Zixiao. He couldn't do anything about it, even if he wanted to. In addition to his physical condition, there was nothing he could do about it. This month, Cheng Zifeng found Cheng Zixiao and said bluntly. He was not ashamed of asking for money at all. Cheng Zixiao looked at him coldly, then asked Tao Hutsai to get the money. After getting the money, Cheng Zifeng said with a smile, "What? Have you thought it through? You seem to be working very hard recently." You. How much can she like you? Besides, not only does she not like you, but she also has me in her heart. Cheng Zifeng smiled proudly, but before he could finish, he was pressed to the ground by Cheng Zixiao. Tao Hutsai watched Cheng Zifeng scream and did not stop him. He saw that it was about time and reminded him, "Second master, it's about time." Cheng Zixiao let go. "Throw him out. If you mention this in the future, I will beat you every time I see you." This time, Cheng Zifeng was a little scared and quickly slipped away. Chapter 5505. Second young master. What are you looking at? Tao Hutsai asked. He followed Cheng Zixiao's gaze and saw a woman sitting in a rickshaw. Second young master. Do you want to know who she is? No. Cheng Zixiao looked away. They're wearing the same clothes, but it's not her. She looks a bit like her. Tao Hutsai understood that the woman had evoked Cheng Zixiao's memories. There are millions of people in this world. It's inevitable that some of their characteristics will be similar. He hoped that second young master would take a fancy to other women. That way, he wouldn't be obsessed with Miss Tang. He didn't know if Fish City was too big or too small. Cheng Zixiao could always see people who looked like Tanghua. Maybe it was their eyes, or their mouth, or their behavior, even their voice. In short, the people he met in this small fish city always reminded him of Tanghua. He didn't have the impulse to call for her like before. After all, these people only looked like her, not her. Why would he call for her? It seems that this move isn't very effective. I don't know why, but Cheng Zixiao suddenly pulled himself together recently. Xiao Xueshi was very distressed. She wanted to do more, but her ability was limited. Yun Xiaoyan said, "It's most likely that Tao Hutsai said something." Although Cheng Zixiao pulled himself together, he probably hasn't forgotten Miss Tang. After all, he's still attracted to those women who look like Miss Tang. He'll stay and observe for a while, but he's not as impulsive as before. I'm just afraid that he won't be impulsive. If he suddenly calms down, those people in Fish City who are preparing to deal with him will give up on their previous thoughts. Other things aside, Cheng Zixiao is definitely very skilled in this aspect. Unfortunately, I don't have this ability. Otherwise, you've already done very well. How about this? I'll spend more effort on the details of each of the clothes for jealousy. When the time comes, we'll perfect it together. We'll do whatever we can. Yun Xiaoyan buried her head and continued to embroider on the cloth. Besides, with our ability, this is all we can do. There's nothing else we can do. Xiao Xueshi was a bit unwilling, but there was no other way for now. She could only agree. Why was she so incompetent? 3 months later, a foreign merchant suddenly appeared in Fish City. He was very generous, and the goods in his hands were also very good. He was very popular with many bosses in Fish City. Later on, they found out that many of the businesses of this foreign merchant overlapped with those of the Chung family. The moment he appeared, Chung Zixiao noticed him, especially when the other party had snatched away a lot of the Chung family's business as soon as he appeared. Chung Zixiao felt that he was being targeted. He planned to meet this foreign merchant face-to-face at the banquet in Fish City and test his intentions. This foreign merchant was none other than Yanqing. After Tang was training, Yanqing had improved in all aspects, including culture, fashion sense, wine tasting, understanding of all the businesses under his name, and could even speak some foreign languages. At this moment, no matter where he went, no one would suspect that he was a bandit, but a noble young master. He and his underlings had also obtained proper identities in other places. It could be said that they had washed away all the traces of being bandits from before. Of course, the base camp on Oxhead Mountain was still there. It was still guarded and trained every day. This was Tang's request. Yanqing didn't care. He just had to listen to his wife. Yanqing's underlings didn't care either. They wouldn't lose out if they listened to their sister-in-law. Tangwa was going to attend this banquet as Yanqing's fiancé. Chapter 5506. The Fish City Business Banquet that Chung Zixiao had been looking forward to finally began. It was mainly a gathering of the important people in Fish City so that everyone could get to know each other. Secondly, it was also to introduce everyone to the rising star of Fish City, Yanqing. After all, this young outsider had caused a stir in Fish City the moment he appeared. He had all sorts of tricks up his sleeves. The things he took out were tempting, but at the same time, they were worried that they would be replaced by Yanqing. Perhaps one day, Yanqing would step into their businesses. This time, they especially invited Chung Zixiao. After all, most of the businesses under Yanqing's name overlapped with the Chung families. The hidden meaning was for Chung Zixiao to get involved, and Chung Zixiao had no choice but to come. After all, this was related to the Chung family's business. Everyone had arrived early to watch the show. It was Chung Zixiao's first time coming so early. He looked around and didn't see any unfamiliar faces. He could only sit and wait. Xiao Xueshi was also here. She had the right to come because she had caught the eye of some rich ladies. And now, Xiao Xueshi was considered someone with some family background. It was no problem for her to come here. When Xiao Xueshi saw Chung Zixiao, she walked over. Of course, she wasn't greeting him kindly. She was reminding him, "It's time to get this season's clothes again. Have you forgotten?" Chung Zixiao was stunned. "No, how could I forget? I've been a little busy recently." "Oh, busy? You used to be this busy too. That's why you didn't notice the best people around you, right? No wonder you can't keep the people you want to keep. After all, you're busy." Chung Zixiao's heart ached. He instantly recalled the time when he was busy. He had really neglected the most important thing around him. What made him even more upset was that from the day of their marriage, his affection for Tang Guo was only on the surface. In reality, there was no fluctuation in his heart. This kind of hypocrisy made him feel suffocated. Thinking about it carefully, he really owed her too much. Xiao Xueshi picked the nearest seat and sat down. She said in a strange tone, "Time is amazing. It can always fade many things. For example, no matter how good a person is, they will still be forgotten after a while. No matter how good a person was to someone in the past, as long as she disappears from this person's world, there will be no trace of her in the future. However, this person had done something bad that didn't exist. Everyone remembered it clearly, but no one has been able to prove her innocence." Chung Zixiao's heart was extremely uncomfortable. "Miss Qiao, don't say any more. I haven't forgotten her. I just want to pull myself together and wait for her to come back." "Did I say anything?" Xiao Xueshi revealed a fake smile. "I was just talking to myself about some things." "Isn't that the truth? Do you understand how it feels to hear the people around you talk about someone you used to know every day, but you can't explain or prove your innocence?" Chung Zixiao was silent. Of course he understood, but he really couldn't fall. "Chung Zixiao, The chances of her coming back are very slim. With your ability, can you prove her innocence? Cheng Zixiao didn't know what to do under Qiao Xuexi's serious gaze. Of course, he wanted to prove Tang Guo's innocence, but he wanted to wait for her to come back first. When she comes back, I will prove it. Cheng Zixiao clenched his teeth and said. Xiao Xuexi looked at his pained expression and felt a little better. You want to walk out of this easily? No way. Anyway, she didn't plan to marry again. She would torture Cheng Zixiao for the rest of her life. Boss Yin, you're finally here. It's rare to see such a noble person like you. Please come in quickly. The person who spoke paused as if he had noticed something. This is... Chapter 5507. My fiancé's surname is Tang. Yin Qing introduced generously. If it weren't for the fact that Tang Guo had imprinted countless etiquettes into his heart, it wouldn't have been appropriate for him to show a wide smile at this moment. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to control himself. Now he could only show a faint and handsome smile, but he couldn't hide the love in his eyes when he looked at Tang Guo. Everyone knew that Yin Qing loved his fiancée very much. Many people stared at Yin Qing, especially at Tang Guo. Unfortunately, she was wearing a hat that covered half of her face, so there was no way to see her face for the time being. Yin Qing was young and had long been targeted by the ladies of Yu City. Now that they knew that he had a fiancée, they were very disappointed, and judging from her figure, she was definitely a beauty. Besides, Yin Qing was so careful that it was obvious that they loved each other very much. They had no chance at all. Hello, Miss Tang. Please come in. The people here want to know Boss Yin. You're so mysterious that it's hard to make an appointment. Yin Qing maintained a smile and let Tang Guo hold his hand as they walked inside. When they came to a suitable seat, Cheng Zixiao came up to him and stretched out a hand before he sat down. Boss Yin, I've heard a lot about you. Yin Qing stretched out his hand. I've heard a lot about you, Second Master Cheng. I have something to ask Boss Yin. Is it convenient for you? Cheng Zixiao was very direct. He made a gesture of invitation and asked the waiter to bring wine. Yin Qing pulled out a chair and asked Tang Guo to sit down first. Sit here for a while. I have something to discuss with Second Master Cheng. Okay, Tang Guo answered. She raised her head slightly and put her handbag on the table. Cheng Zixiao suddenly heard a familiar voice and looked over subconsciously. He didn't look carefully just now because he knew that this woman was Yin Qing's fiancée. His target was Yin Qing. Of course, he didn't want to pay attention to someone else. This familiar voice made him subconsciously look at it. He had already experienced many similar things. The voice was similar or even the same, but it didn't mean that this person was Tang Guo. In his heart, he was thinking that it was another commoner who sounded exactly like her. However, when he saw the face that looked exactly the same, he froze on the spot, unable to say a word. It was as if he had been nailed to the ground and lost his ability to move. He stood there in a daze, staring at Tang Guo's face. He watched as she took small sips of the wine. She even smiled at Yin Qing and whispered something to him. As if she could feel his burning gaze, she looked at him. Under Cheng Zixiao's expectant gaze, she frowned, as if she didn't like such a gaze. That pair of eyes was really unfamiliar. Second young Master Cheng, what are you trying to say? Cheng Zixiao ignored Yin Qing and rushed in front of Tang Guo. He reached out to hug her, but Yin Qing grabbed his shoulder and pulled him aside. Yin Qing's face darkened. Second young Master Cheng, what do you mean? Publicly humiliating my fiancé? Are you here to talk or to cause trouble? Xiaoguo, are you back? I've been looking for you for a long time. Many people said that the chances of finding you were slim, but I didn't give up. Cheng Zixiao didn't seem to understand what he was saying. His voice was very loud, attracting everyone's attention. At this moment, everyone looked at Tang Guo and exclaimed. Wasn't she Tang Guo? Even Xiao Xuexi was shocked. Tang Guo was back. Was she really still alive? Tang Guo stood up and approached Yin Qing. Yin Qing lowered his head and gave her a look. She understood, as if to say that he was strong enough to throw a grown man away with one hand. Tang Guo couldn't help but laugh. This interaction simply stung Cheng Zixiao's heart. Xiaoguo, I was wrong. Tang Guo stopped smiling. Second young Master Cheng, do we know each other? I don't think we've met before. Of course we know each other. We used to be husband and wife, Cheng Zixiao said. Used to be? Tangguo raised her eyebrows. So you're not husband and wife anymore? Cheng Zixiao wanted to say something, but Tangguo interrupted him. But I really don't know you. You must have mistaken me for someone else. Everyone was in an uproar. They couldn't tell if the woman in front of them was Tangguo or looked like Tangguo. Chapter 55:08. No, I won't mistake you for someone else. You are her. Cheng Zixiao was sure that he had not mistaken her for someone else. As for why Tangguo did not recognize him and acted like a stranger, he guessed that it was because she had fallen into the sea and hit her head, so she had forgotten the past. Facing such a stubborn Cheng Zixiao, Yanqing was very dissatisfied. This person who clearly had so many good opportunities but had never been promoted was really a little shameless. He shielded Tangguo behind him and pressed Cheng Zixiao with one hand. Second young master Cheng, my fiancée said that she doesn't know you. Cheng Zixiao looked angry and even looked at Yanqing with a bit of murderous intent. Yanqing did not care about this bit of murderous intent. It was not like he had never killed people before. He did not kill people casually. If Cheng Zixiao wanted to steal his wife, he would have to kill him. Cheng Zixiao felt the weight on his shoulders and heard the discussion around him. He quickly came back to his senses and realized where he was. He immediately calmed himself down and said to Yanqing with a serious expression, Boss Yin, I believe that I didn't mistake you for someone else. And you just said that her surname is Tang. Is her name Tangguo? I guess so. Cheng Zixiao looked at Yanqing with confidence, as if he had won. I've been looking for her for a long time. But she doesn't know you. Tangguo had already told Yanqing that she had come back as an amnesiac. He did not know what Tangguo wanted to do. Anyway, it would not benefit Cheng Zixiao, so he just had to cooperate. Besides, no matter who she is now my fiancée. She has nothing to do with you. Second young master Cheng, you have to be clear about this. Yanqing added, most importantly, she doesn't know you. It seems that she doesn't want to know more about you. Cheng Zixiao pursed his lips and looked at Tangguo's face. Seeing that she was not moved at all, his heart sank. Then I want to ask, where did you meet her, Boss Yin? Afraid that Yanqing would not be willing to admit it, Cheng Zixiao added, since you think that you are close, there is no need to hide this kind of thing. Yanqing chuckled. Why should I tell you? Second young master Cheng, if you're not in the mood to talk, then please make room for us. Seeing Cheng Zixiao's anxious look, Yanqing was very pleased. The only bad thing was that now everyone knew that his wife had returned and had lost her memory. All kinds of strange gazes were on her. Believe me, we really know each other. Cheng Zixiao didn't know how to explain. We used to be very familiar with each other. Can you give me a chance to help you remember the past? He had imagined all kinds of scenarios in which Tangguo would appear. The only thing he didn't expect was that she would appear in front of him as another man's fiancée, and that she didn't recognize him anymore. The pair of eyes that were originally focused on him were now focused on someone else. The scene before his eyes was really about to drive Cheng Zixiao crazy. But he couldn't be impulsive. If he did something bad, it would leave a bad impression on her. She didn't have any memories of him now. If he didn't perform well, she would only hate him. Suddenly, Cheng Zixiao thought of something and ran to Qiao Xueshi. Miss Qiao, help me persuade her. Aren't you also looking forward to her return? Qiao Xueshi looked at Cheng Zixiao's pitiful appearance and didn't know why, but she still didn't feel touched by his infatuation. She still felt that it was ridiculous. Chapter 55:09. What a selfish person. Tangguo didn't even remember him, but he still wanted to help her remember the past because he couldn't take it lying down. Wouldn't remembering the past make Tangguo suffer again? Her current fiancé was talented and capable, and he loved her so much. In Qiao Xueshi's opinion, this was a gift from the heavens. What was wrong with forgetting Cheng Zixiao, meeting a good man, and living happily for the rest of her life? If Cheng Zixiao really cared about her, shouldn't he be watching her be happy in a corner? This person wanted to make her remember the past. Selfish. Qiao Xueshi followed Cheng Zixiao to Tangguo. Actually, when she saw the face, she was sure that it was Tanghua. She had spent a lot of time with Tanghua, so she was very familiar with her facial features, especially the small moles. The person in front of her was exactly the same as the moles on Tanghua's face. However, she didn't intend to make it public. She was very happy that Tanghua was still alive. She was overjoyed that Tanghua had forgotten Cheng Zixiao. Why did she have to prove that this was Tanghua? You used to have a good relationship with Miss Xiao. Cheng Zixiao seemed to have gained some confidence and introduced Xiao Xueshi to Tanghua. Xiao Xueshi stretched out her hand. We used to have a good relationship. You helped me for a long time, but I didn't have the time to thank you in person. Tanghua shook hands with Xiao Xueshi. Is that so? But I don't know you. I don't mind. Xiao Xueshi smiled. It's best that you don't remember. We can get to know each other again. You won't leave Yu City immediately, right? No. I plan to stay here. Cheng Zixiao breathed a sigh of relief. He was very satisfied with Xiao Xueshi's words. Xiao Xueshi was a little worried. If it's not necessary, you shouldn't stay in Yu City. There's no one here worth your nostalgia. Especially, she paused and looked at Cheng Zixiao. Especially this man, who seems to be very affectionate. He hurt you before, so don't be touched by his words. This person is trash and rotten to the core. You have to be careful. Cheng Zixiao's expectant gaze immediately changed. He didn't understand why Xiao Xueshi would suddenly say that. Xiao Xueshi threw caution to the wind and didn't care about Cheng Zixiao's expression. Cheng Zixiao wanted to say something, but there were already people around Tanghua. They were all Yin Qing's underlings, so he had no chance to get close to Tanghua. He could only watch helplessly as Xiao Xueshi continuously badmouthed him. If you're really interested in the past, come and ask me. Don't ask him. I'm not interested in the past at all. Since I've already forgotten it, it means that there's nothing worth remembering. Tanghua's words really made Cheng Zixiao feel at a loss. There are some rumors about you in Fish City. Don't mind them. They aren't true. Xiao Xueshi sounded the alarm for Tanghua. Since Tanghua was going to stay in Fish City, she would definitely hear those rumors. It was just a matter of time, so she might as well take the initiative to bring it up. She knew that it was impossible to completely hide it. If she took precautions in advance, the other party would be prepared. She thought that this person called Yin Qing wasn't bad. He was capable. His eyes were on Tanghua the entire time. She believed that he would definitely be able to protect Tanghua well. Xiao Xueshi stayed by Tanghua's side for the entire banquet. Yin Qing asked his underlings to guard them and went to discuss things with others without worry. Cheng Zixiao could only stand by the side. He wanted to go in, but he couldn't. Hearing the occasional laughter and bad-mouthing him, he was so angry that his heart hurt. Chapter 55:10. That day, rumors about Tanghua spread like wildfire in Yu City. Everyone was talking about how Tanghua was back, and that she was Boss Yan's fiancée. She didn't seem to remember anything else. After leaving the banquet, Cheng Zixiao was both angry and happy. He was happy that Tanghua was back, but angry that she had become someone else's fiancée. That day, he gave the order to compete with Yin Qing. He couldn't admit defeat. First, he had to defeat Yin Qing. No matter what, he was still a local of Fish City. If he got serious, Yin Qing, an outsider, was no match for him. Unfortunately, he had forgotten that Yin Qing was talented and had a strategist by his side. Basically, he was the kind that could solve all kinds of problems. After a few confrontations, the results weren't ideal. Instead, he was tricked by Yin Qing, so he had to stop. Recently, he wanted to see Tanghua every day, but she didn't go out, so he didn't have a chance to see her. Second Master, Miss Tang is out. Tao Hetsai didn't know if he was happy or sad. He hadn't expected Tanghua to be alive and come back. Unfortunately, she had lost her memory and had become someone else's fiancée. If it was just memory loss, it might be good for Second Master. They might be able to start over. However, she was Yin Qing's fiancée now, and Xiao Xueshi was sowing discord. The situation was very bad for Second Master. Actually, he wanted to persuade Cheng Zixiao to give up and make up for his mistakes in other ways. But he knew Cheng Zixiao well enough to know that he wouldn't agree. So, it's Second Master Cheng. Cheng Zixiao stopped her at Yun's tailor shop, so he couldn't look anywhere else. His attention was all on her. You used to like making clothes here. Before you left, you ordered clothes for me for the next 10 years. There will be clothes for all 4 seasons. Have you forgotten all of that? I really don't remember. Tang was smiled. Since you said that I left, why are you still so stubborn? If you leave, it means that we're not fated. No, it's just a misunderstanding. What misunderstanding? Tangwa asked. Cheng Zixiao opened his mouth, but he didn't know what to say. I didn't believe you and caused you to leave sadly. Cheng Zixiao paused for a moment before saying, after you left, I regretted it very much. I should have believed you. How would you do such a thing? There must have been a misunderstanding. Someone must have framed you. We're obviously living under the same roof. I should know your character. You wouldn't do something like that. I know that you're too angry. That's why you've forgotten the past. But I hope you can give me a chance to make up for my mistakes. He couldn't directly tell her about his plans. The Tangwa in front of him had completely forgotten everything that had happened in the past. If he told her about his plans, she might just mock him and turn around to leave. She would not look at him with a smile and give him a chance to speak. After all, she had forgotten that everything was because of her, but she had no feelings for him at all. Since it's your fault and you want to make up for it, why do you want me to cooperate with you? Tangwa asked. I believe you're very happy. Can't you see? The 2 questions left Cheng Zixiao speechless. Chapter 55:11. You keep saying that you want to make it up to me and treat me well, but I'm doing very well now. Instead, your appearance and all kinds of excuses have brought me a lot of trouble. Second young Master Cheng, your appearance has caused me a lot of trouble. If you really think that what you did in the past was wrong, then don't disturb me now. Tangwa walked into Yun's tailor shop and ignored Cheng Zixiao. Cheng Zixiao still followed her in and asked Yun Xiaolian for the clothes. After getting the clothes for this season, he hurriedly said to Tangwa, these were all ordered before you left. I come here every season to collect them. Yun Xiaolian also knew that Tangwa had returned. After knowing that she didn't remember the past, especially after knowing that Cheng Zixiao had left, her reaction was the same as Qiao Xueshi's. Seeing Cheng Zixiao's despicable expression, she was even happier. The person who had once been pushed away and had been with him in his heart actually didn't remember him and was someone else's fiancé. This feeling must be very uncomfortable. Tangwa made 2 sets of clothes, as usual, and chatted with Yun Xiaolian for a while before leaving without paying attention to Cheng Zixiao. Cheng Zixiao didn't chase after her. Of course, he wasn't willing to give up just like that. This was the person he had lost before. No matter what, he had to get her back. Therefore, he decided to get rid of Yanqing first and chase him out of Yu City like a dog in the water. He wanted to show Tangwa that this person wasn't reliable at all. He knew fame and fortune too well. If that man couldn't protect himself, he would definitely abandon her. He might even give her up in order to survive. By then, she would be able to take a good look and see if that man, called Yanqing, was the best choice for her. The first thing Cheng Zixiao did was to arrange for someone to act as a shill at Yanqing's businesses and cause trouble. Then, he bribed the police to arrest Yanqing and teach him a lesson. He had been secretly looking for trouble with Yanqing's businesses. Tangwa wouldn't have thought of this, would she? He guessed that if Yanqing was in trouble, Tangwa might come to him for help. After all, he was the only person she knew in Yu City who could help, right? However, he didn't expect that the police station would be attacked the night Yanqing was arrested. Although no one died, the situation was very tragic. Not only that, but as soon as the sun rose, the police came to the Cheng family's house and arrested Cheng Zixiao without a word. In addition, the trouble that Cheng Zixiao had caused for Yanqing had been returned in full. After a round of torment, Cheng Zixiao was tormented badly. The Cheng family's business also suffered a huge blow. This was especially true when Yanqing pursued Cheng Zixiao, forcing the Cheng clan to retreat quickly. Many of their businesses were facing closure. During this period of time, everyone in Fish City watched the show with great interest. Some cheered, some were afraid, but no one dared to interfere. After all, Those unreasonable police officers were very obedient in front of Yanqing. They knew that they couldn't afford to offend Yanqing. Cheng Zixiao had been locked up for 2 whole months before he was released. At this time, his face was pale and he looked very thin. Tao Hatsai was the only one waiting for him outside. The sunlight was a little dazzling and he felt a little cold. Second young master, forget it. That Yanqing has a strong background. Our Cheng family can't afford to offend him. Cheng Zixiao was a little lost and helpless. He felt terrible and his eyes suddenly turned red. How can I forget it? Hatsai, how can I forget it? If she remembers me, she won't be like this. If she remembers me, she'll definitely come back for me. As long as she remembers me, I'll apologize. He knew that he had lost. He couldn't take her back by force. Chapter 55:12. In the past few months, Yanqing had been fighting with the Cheng family. The other families didn't dare to interfere and were a little afraid. But in the end, they could only suck up to Yanqing. Now, Cheng Zixiao's life was more difficult. He had to face many problems and couldn't find Tanghua. Tanghua's life was quiet. Is that enough? Yanqing understood. Tanghua was holding a grudge and came back to mess with the Cheng family. It should be said that when she was sent to the wrong bridal chamber, Tanghua had been planning these things, right? Their meeting was probably an accident. It was also an accident that he could become an official. Speaking of which, it was also a bit of luck. Not enough. Yanqing hurried over. Then how do you want to play? Find me an unfamiliar brother. It's best if he's good at foreign languages. I need him to do something. Yanqing went to do it immediately. Not long after, a subordinate came and said excitedly, "Sister-in-law, what orders do you have?" Actually, in the eyes of this group of subordinates, they felt that their sister-in-law was much more powerful than their boss. Everyone in Fish City thought that their boss was fierce, who would laugh at their sister-in-law for plotting behind the scenes. It was also because of their sister-in-law that they were able to live such a righteous life. They weren't afraid of those bastards from the police. Those bastards had to bow their heads when they saw them now. According to their sister-in-law, the situation was chaotic now. They had to secretly control Fish City as soon as possible. When the time came, it would be of great use. Ban Yushan, pretend to be a Western doctor who just returned to the country and find Cheng Zixiao. After hearing the plan, Ban Yushan was a little confused, but he still nodded to show that he would do it well. You don't have to worry about anything else. Just do what I do. He will create his own opportunity. The Cheng family was basically defeated. With them around, there was no way they could make a comeback. Of course, it wasn't her style to let Cheng Zixiao hide like a turtle. How could it be enough just for the family to be defeated? A few days later, Ban Yushan appeared in front of Cheng Zixiao disguised as a Western doctor and successfully attracted his attention. Cheng Zixiao knew that Western medicine was a little magical, so he asked about memory loss. Ban Yushan said that he happened to have a special medicine that could help people with amnesia regain their memories. How much they could regain depended on luck. After hearing this, Cheng Zixiao was very happy and proposed to buy this special medicine. Ban Yushan pretended to say that the medicine was very rare. Cheng Zixiao did not want to give up and took out a lot of small yellow croakers to buy it. The Cheng family wasn't doing very well, and Tao he was unwilling to spend so much money, but he couldn't stop Cheng Zixiao. After getting the special medicine, Cheng Zixiao began to think of a way to make Tanghua drink it. Tell the other party directly? Of course not. The other party might not drink it. Therefore, he could only use his wits. He decided to ask Tanghua out and put the medicine in the coffee. His excuse for asking Tanghua out this time was to apologize to her and hope to meet her so that he wouldn't disturb her anymore. Tanghua went back and talked to him face to face. Cheng Zixiao watched her drink the coffee, and the stone in his heart seemed to have been lifted. I'm sorry for disturbing you earlier. It's good that you understand. Tanghua still maintained her previous faint smile. This unfamiliar appearance made Cheng Zixiao feel very uncomfortable. Cheng Zixiao sighed. You really don't remember at all? I don't remember. At this moment, Tanghua suddenly covered her head as if she was in pain. Seeing this, Cheng Zixiao didn't disturb her. Instead, he was looking forward to something. Translator. Hinyi Translations Editor. Hinyi Translations, as if waiting for an entire world. Tang Guo recovered. When she looked at Cheng Zixiao again, the look in her eyes had changed. Xiaoguo, do you remember? Cheng Zixiao asked excitedly. Tang Guo was cold. I don't think there's much to talk about between us. Tang Guo grabbed her handbag and was about to leave when Cheng Zixiao hurriedly stopped her. I'm sorry. I know that it hurt you. I once swore that I would apologize to you when you came back. I hope you can give me a chance. For your purpose, you didn't hesitate to destroy everything I had. Is just an apology enough? Tang Guo continued to walk. Cheng Zixiao wanted to stop her, but he was stopped by his men outside and couldn't get close. I know you've been wronged. I'll explain to the people of Yu City that it wasn't your fault. These days, Cheng Zixiao was in too much pain. He really couldn't help it. He looked at Tang Guo and shouted to the surroundings, "Everyone listen to me." Chapter 55:13. Tang Guo turned around and looked at Cheng Zixiao, who was standing at the entrance of the cafe. She didn't continue walking forward, as if waiting for him to continue. More and more people gathered around. The people of Yu City were more interested in the matter between Cheng Zixiao and Tang Guo. After Tang Guo jumped into the sea and disappeared, Cheng Zixiao seemed to have gone crazy. The people of Yu City often said that Tang Guo was a troublemaker. Now that she was back, she had lost her memory, and she had a fiancé. With the fall of the Cheng family, the people of Yu City often talked about how Tang Guo was a Sangmen star. If Cheng Zixiao had never married her, the Cheng family wouldn't have fallen to this point. It had to be said that no matter what era it was, people were always more demanding of women. It was a woman's fault to be involved in anything. The people around also heard what Cheng Zixiao wanted to say. They were curious about the story between the two. Anyway, it had nothing to do with them. It was fine to stay here and watch the show. Anyway, they were a troublemaker for Tang Guo. The Sangmen star avoided her. They felt that anyone who got involved would be unlucky. Cheng Zixiao heard the whispers of the people around him. Looking at Tang Guo's faint and slightly mocking gaze, he felt a little sad. He really didn't expect that after doing that, the entire Yu City would misunderstand him like this. No, he had thought of it. It was just that at that time, he didn't know how important the woman in front of him was to him. Ever since she left, he would always forget about mealtimes. She wouldn't ask him if he was tired or hungry. No one would ask someone to prepare delicious food in advance. That period of time that he didn't cherish when he was busy was really the most comfortable and beautiful days of his life. Second young Master Cheng, to be honest, she already has a fiancé. Besides, because of Miss Tang, look at what your Cheng family has become. Why are you still so stubborn? There's so many women in the world. Why does it have to be her? That's right. For Miss Tang, are you really willing to have your family destroyed? Two of Cheng Zixiao's men walked up to him and whispered, "There's really no need for that. If you really want her to regret her choice, why don't you make a comeback? She'll regret it one day." There was nothing wrong with her persuasion. After all, the entire Fish City's impression of Tang Guo was that she had an affair with someone else while she was still married. It was not appropriate for them to point out such a shameful thing in front of Cheng Zixiao. They weren't saying this for Cheng Zixiao's sake. The main reason was that Yin Qing's influence was too great, and their families were also affected. The only person who could face Yin Qing head-on was Cheng Zixiao. Only when Cheng Zixiao stood up and fought with Yin Qing would they have a chance. In the current situation, Yin Qing's family was the strongest, and the other families did not dare to provoke them. That's right. A woman like her really isn't worth it for you to give up on yourself. Cheng Zixiao pushed the two of them away and subconsciously looked at Tang Guo's expression. Even though the two of them were whispering, he could still feel that Tang Guo had heard them. Don't you have something to say? It seems that you don't. No, I do. Wait, I want to make everything clear here so that no one will misunderstand you again. Tang Guo glanced behind Cheng Zixiao and walked away without hesitation. This was because someone had come from behind Cheng Zixiao and was about to hit him on the head with a stick. Mobile version website. Chapter 55:14. This person was none other than Tao Hetsai. One had to admit that Tao Hatsai was truly a loyal protector. I am Cheng Zixiao, the second young master of the Cheng family that you all know. Today, I am here to make one thing clear. I hope that after today, all misunderstandings can be cleared up. Tao Hatsai mercilessly hit Cheng Zixiao on the head with his stick. Cheng Zixiao immediately fainted. Everyone, I'm sorry. The second young master has been spouting nonsense recently. He really can't bear to part with Miss Tang. Tao Hatsai called for someone to support Cheng Zixiao. He looked at everyone worriedly. It's a pity that Miss Tang already has a fiancé. It only means that the two of them are not fated to be together. Everyone expressed their understanding. After all, it wasn't the first time that Cheng Zixiao had gone crazy. As for what he could say, everyone felt that it was most likely something to curry favor with Tanghua. After Tanghua left, Tao Hatsai brought his men back. Now, he had to think about how the second young master would punish him when he woke up. He had to stop this, even if the second young master would scold him or even chase him out. Because once that secret was revealed, the second young master would really have no chance to make a comeback. At least in this situation, everyone was still on the second young master's side. When Tanghua was mentioned, people would think that it was all because of her that the second young master had ended up like this. And with the current situation in Fish City, if the second young master wanted to make a comeback, the other families in Fish City would be happy to see it. They might even help. But now that the previous incident had been exposed, no one would help the second young master. No one would do something so foolish that it would ruin their reputation. Moreover, the Cheng family would become a family that everyone would avoid in the future. Then, the Cheng family would really have no chance to establish themselves in Fish City. The system was a little angry. What's the rush? He can stop it once or twice, but can he stop it forever? When he wakes up later, he'll probably hate Tao Hatsai to death. The more people stop him, the more he'll want to do it. When that happens, he'll be even crazier. To destroy him, he must first be driven mad. The system shuddered. After careful analysis, it seemed that this was indeed the case. The current Cheng Zixiao was on the verge of exploding. Half a day later, the first thing Cheng Zixiao did when he woke up was give Tao Hatsai a good scolding. Tao Hatsai gave various explanations and analyzed the current situation. Seeing that Cheng Zixiao was slowly calming down, a piece of news from the outside world came in, causing him to lose his composure. Another piece of news was that Tanghua and Yinqing would have their wedding in 2 months. Now, many clans had received invitations. No matter how calm Tao Hatsai was and how much he wanted Cheng Zixiao to make a comeback, there was nothing he could do. Because things had happened too quickly, one after another, Cheng Zixiao had no time to think at all. He could only be pushed away. That day, Cheng Zixiao ordered people to capture Tao Hatsai and tie him up in the woodshed. He even personally checked the ropes. Then, he led people to beat gongs and drums, attracting many people on the street. When everyone saw that it was Cheng Zixiao, they hurriedly gathered around him, thinking that he had gone crazy again. They didn't expect Cheng Zixiao's next words to be so shocking and unbelievable. Miss Tang has never betrayed me. From the beginning to the end, this was all directed and acted out by me. From the moment she married into the Cheng family to the moment she was sent to the wrong bridal chamber, it was all part of the plan. Mobile version website that you're tuning into the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.